Hi guys. Um, this was a big week for everybody. Just there was just a lot of chapters this week, a lot of reading, a lot of new material. So I don't know about anybody else, but I am tired after this week. Um, but it was a really good week. I really liked getting into more of the oxygenated blood, insulin and glucose. Those things just seem to make more sense to me. Um, so I don't know. It was a nice change of pace for me. It was a lot of work, and well, it's pretty crazy, but it was definitely nice. A nice change. So this is the first time I've ever used the Vimeo app, or like extension. So I tried the presentation, and it seems to be kind of funny. So we're just gonna click through it because that's easier, and I want to make sure that I get it all done. So to start, we were talking about how um, oxygen travels from the lungs through the blood to the tissues, right? So oxygen binding to heme and hemoglobin. So the heme group is non-planar when the oxygen is not bound to it. The iron atom is out of the plane of the porphyrin, I never know how to say that, porphyrin ring towards the histidine residue. This is the non-planar configuration of deoxygenated hemoglobin referred to in a domed shape. However, when the oxygen binds to heme, it gets planar configuration where iron lies in the plane of the porphyrin ring. This is just a picture I found online. I thought it would be a little better. Just a different change of pace to have something that wasn't in the textbook. And it kind of got cut off. I don't know how or why. So you can see the hemoglobin right here then has sort of like the domed C shape. Here's our atom or iron atom, the globin. Moving on. It's always embarrassing when you see spelling errors. Whoops, sorry. The quaternary structure of hemoglobin is markedly changed on binding oxygen. Its 3D structure includes a pair of identical alpha and beta dimers that associate and form the tetramers. In the deoxygenated state, dimers are linked by extensive surface, and the heme groups are well separated, corresponding to the T state, which we know is the tense state. Once oxygenation, iron moves and brings iron associated histidine towards piriformin, so hence the histidine, which is containing the alpha helix, alters it to the R state, the rested state. So from here, the binding of oxygen is actually cooperative, which is what we want. So here you can kind of see we have deoxygenated versus oxygenated. There's not the dome shape in the actual hemoglobin molecule, whereas here we have the oxidated, the oxygen. That's what's causing the dome in the actual molecule. Okay, so then because of this, oxygen is actually transported in the blood from the lungs because the partial pressure of oxygen, which is shown as the PO2, is relatively higher than it is in the tissues, because the tissues have a much lower partial pressure of oxygen. So to measure that, we use the torr measure of just the measurement, the torr measurement. So the partial pressure in the lungs is approximately 100 torr, and the partial pressure in the tissues is approximately 20. So you can see the very distinctive, it's like an 80% difference from the lungs to the tissues. So hemoglobin in the lungs that are saturated with oxygen are approximately 98% of the oxygen binding sites that are occupied. In tissues, however, the saturation levels dropped to about 32%. So I found this curve, this graph online. So you can see up here the lungs, their partial pressure is about 100. And then there's this very steep decline to the tissues, and that's where we get to, it looks like 45 and below. So it drops significantly. So yeah, that's where we can see it. I'm excited to see everybody else's presentations and be responding to them soon.